Welcome in, everyone. Ready to dive deep into another leadership book.
Always ready. What do we have today?
We're cracking open The High-Impact Leader.
Oh, no.
Well, the condensed version, anyway.
You mean
We're looking at Anil Nathu's one-hour guide.
makes sense. Got to be efficient with our time, right?
Exactly.
So much to learn out there.
So these guides, as you know, they boil things down to the essentials.
The good stuff.
And this time, we're tackling authentic leadership development.
That's a hot topic these days.
And for good reason, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a buzzword.
Right. It's got real substance.
It's about walking the walk.
Yeah, being genuine.
And what really struck me in this one-hour guide was the emphasis on moments that matter.
Oh, yeah. Avolio and Luthans, the authors of the original book,
Yeah.
they talk about those pivotal experiences, both good and bad.
The ones that really shape you, right?
Yeah, and they argue that these moments can be even more powerful than formal training.
Which is fascinating to think about, isn't it?
It really is. Because it kind of puts the onus on you,
To be aware of those moments.
to recognize them as they're happening.
And to really learn from them.
Exactly. It's not just about going to a workshop.
Right. It's about how life itself
Life throws these things at you.
and molds you as a leader.
Yeah, and sometimes those moments are small, but they have this huge impact.
Like a ripple effect.
Exactly. And they give this great example in the book.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
Oprah Winfrey.
I love her.
When she was a child, seeing Sidney Poitier win the Oscar.
Becoming the first Black man to win Best Actor.
Yes. It was a defining moment for her.
Powerful.
It showed her that anything was possible.
That representation matters.
And it's just amazing how one experience can have such a lasting impact.
You know, it makes me think about my own moments that matter.
Me too. It makes you
Yeah.
reflect, doesn't it?
It does. Like, what were those turning points that led me here?
Yeah. What about you? Do any specific moments come to mind?
Well, there's the obvious ones.
Like what?
Graduations, big career moves.
Yeah. Those milestones.
But I think some of the most formative moments were actually the challenges.
The setbacks.
Yeah, those times when things didn't go to plan.
Because that's when you really learn.
You're forced to adapt
to dig deep.
and figure out what you're really made of.
And Avolio and Luthans, they argue that those tough moments are crucial for developing authentic leadership.
Yeah, because it's easy to lead when everything's going smoothly.
It's a whole different ballgame when you're facing adversity.
Exactly. And it's how you navigate those challenges that really reveals your leadership style.
And your ability to connect with your team when they need you most.
Because they're looking to you for guidance, for reassurance.
And it's those moments that either make or break you as a leader.
It's true. But it's not just about reacting to those moments, is it?
Right. It's about actively shaping your own development.
And that's where the concept of actual self versus possible self comes in.
Which is another key takeaway from the one-hour guide by Anil Nathu.
Yeah, he breaks it down really well.
So for our listener who might not be familiar with those terms,
Your actual self is who you are right now.
warts and all,
Strengths, weaknesses,
Right.
the whole package.
and your possible self is
Well, you could be
that ideal version of you as a leader.
the leader you aspire to become.
And Avolio and Luthans, they really emphasize the importance of bridging that gap.
Between who you are and who you want to be.
So it's about recognizing your current state,
And then actively working towards that vision of your future self.
almost like creating a roadmap for personal growth, wouldn't you say?
That's a great analogy. And what I found really interesting is that they cite a poll in the book.
Oh, what did it say?
It revealed that a lot of leaders are perceived as competent,
They can get the job done?
but they lack authenticity.
So they might be effective in a technical sense.
But they're not necessarily inspiring or connecting with their teams on a deeper level.
They might not be the kind of leader that people truly want to follow long term.
Because people crave authenticity.
They want to know that their leader is genuine, that they care.
And they're not just in it for themselves.
Exactly. And the one-hour guide gives a great example of an authentic leader.
Who's that?
Herb Kelleher, the founder of Southwest Airlines.
Oh, he's a legend.
He was known for rolling up his sleeves and working alongside his employees.
No task was beneath him.
He even helped unload baggage during busy periods.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
It shows that he valued every single person on his team.
And that he wasn't above any job.
And that kind of authenticity is contagious, isn't it?
It creates a culture where everyone feels valued and respected.
And it makes you wonder, are leaders like Herb Kelleher born that way? Or can that kind of authenticity be developed?
What does the one-hour guide by Anil Nathu say about that age-old debate? Well, Avolio and Luthans seem to think it's a bit of both.
Nature and nurture?
Yeah, they acknowledge that some people might have a natural predisposition towards certain leadership qualities.
Like charisma or empathy?
Right. But they really stress that experience and deliberate effort are what really matter.
So even if you weren't born with those leader genes,
You can still develop those skills.
through practice and intention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they even critique traditional leadership programs.
Oh, yeah. What do they say about them?
They argue that a lot of those programs are too theoretical.
Too removed from the real world.
Exactly. They advocate for what they call authentic leadership development,
Which focuses on real-world application?
learning by doing, essentially.
Not just reading about it in a textbook.
Right. Getting out there and experiencing those challenges firsthand.
Making mistakes, learning from them.
And they use Warren Buffett as an example.
The Oracle of Omaha.
They talk about how his investment philosophy was shaped by his early experiences.
What kind of experiences?
He witnessed a lot of bad corporate governance,
Oh, wow.
and those negative experiences actually became the foundation for his success.
So he turned those setbacks into wisdom.
Exactly. He learned what not to do.
And developed his own approach based on those lessons.
Precisely. And speaking of learning and development,
They introduced this concept of a development map.
yeah, it's like a personalized roadmap for your leadership journey.
Instead of just hoping to become a better leader,
You actually sit down and map out your own growth.
identify your strengths, your weaknesses,
What areas where you want to improve.
and then you create a plan to get there.
Exactly. And what's cool is that this map is designed to evolve with you.
So it's not static.
Right. As you gain new experiences and insights.
You can adjust your map accordingly.
The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu gives the example of Indra Nooyi.
Former CEO of PepsiCo.
She had a strong vision for the company's sustainability initiatives.
And her development map helped her bring that vision to life
It kept her focused on her goals,
and ensured that her leadership was aligned with her values.
which I think is really important.
It's not just about achieving external success.
It's about leading in a way that feels true to yourself.
It makes me wonder, what would your own leadership map look like?
That's a great question. What values would be at the core of it?
For me, I think courage would be up there.
Courage to do what?
To take risks, to challenge the status
Like
quo,
stand up for what I believe in.
even when it's
Oh,
difficult.
I hear that. And it ties in nicely with what Avolio and Luthans call psychological capital, or PsyCap.
Yeah, the 1 Hour Guide by Neil Nathu spends a good chunk of time on that concept.
Can you remind our listeners what exactly PsyCap is?
It's about those key psychological traits that contribute to authentic leadership.
There are 4 main components.
Confidence, hope, optimism, and resilience.
And they argue that these traits are essential for any leader who wants to make a real impact.
They sound like a pretty potent combination.
They are. And the book gives a great example of PsyCap in action.
Which one?
The founding story of Airbnb.
Oh, yeah, those guys faced a ton of rejection early on.
Trying to convince people to stay in a stranger's house.
It's hard to imagine now how radical that idea seemed back then.
But they had this unwavering belief in their vision.
They had hope, they had resilience.
And most importantly, they had optimism.
They truly believed that they could change the world.
And their passion was contagious.
It spread to their team, to their investors.
And eventually to millions of users around the world.
It's amazing how a leader's mindset can have such a ripple effect.
It shapes the culture of an organization.
And ultimately, it determines its success or failure.
Absolutely. So thinking about your own leadership style.
Which of those 4 PsyCap traits do you feel strongest in?
I'd say confidence is definitely up there.
Yeah, you always seem so sure of yourself.
But I'm always working on my hope.
Hope for the future?
Hope for the future, hope for my team.
It's about inspiring others to believe in the possibilities.
Even when things get tough.
What about you? Which trait resonates most with you?
I think I'm naturally optimistic.
You always see the glass half full.
But I could definitely work on my resilience.
That ability to bounce back from setbacks.
Yeah, that's something I'm actively trying to cultivate.
It's fascinating how these seemingly intangible qualities can have such a tangible impact on leadership effectiveness.
It's not just about skills and knowledge.
It's about mindset.
And it's about heart.
And speaking of impact, the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu delves into this concept of sustainable and veritable performance.
Ah, yes, those terms. They sound a bit academic, don't they?
They do, but they're actually quite simple.
It's about shifting the focus from short-term wins to long-term value creation.
So it's not just about chasing profits or accolades.
It's about building something that lasts.
Something that has a genuine positive impact.
On your team, on your customers, on the world.
Sustainable performance means achieving results without burning out your team.
Or compromising your values.
Or depleting your resources.
It's about finding a rhythm that allows you to thrive in the long run.
And veritable performance goes hand in hand with that.
It's about making sure your success is meaningful, not just measurable.
Aligning your actions with your values. Ensuring that your achievements have a positive impact.
But not just on the bottom line,
but on the world around you.
The 1 Hour Guide highlights Patagonia as a company that embodies these concepts.
They're known for their commitment to sustainability.
And for their willingness to put their values above short-term profits.
Like with their Don't Buy This Jacket campaign.
A bold move.
But it really resonated with their audience.
It showed that they were willing to walk the walk.
And it probably built even stronger brand loyalty in the long run.
It's a powerful example of how aligning your actions with your values can lead to both sustainable and veritable performance.
It makes you think about the companies you admire.
The ones whose leadership you respect.
Are they truly committed to sustainability and genuine impact?
Or are they just chasing short-term gains?
It's an important question to ask.
Especially in today's world.
Now, in the last chapter, as summarized by the 1 Hour Guide, Avolio and Luthans shift their focus to action.
They call it, sounds like a plan for your ALD.
And it sounds like a call to arms.
It is. They're urging readers to move beyond just reading about authentic leadership.
To actually do something with these insights.
To create a plan for their own development.
So it's about taking those theoretical concepts
and turning them into concrete actions.
It starts with defining your authentic leadership goals.
What do you want to achieve?
What kind of leader do you aspire to be?
What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
It's about really digging deep and understanding your own motivations.
And then once you have a clear sense of your goals,
you can start putting together a plan.
With specific actions you can take to get there.
It's about holding yourself accountable.
And they even recommend incorporating what they call engineered trigger moments.
Engineered trigger moments, what are those?
It's about intentionally putting yourself in situations that will challenge you.
Oh, I like that.
Situations that force you to grow.
To step outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. It might involve taking on a new responsibility.
Or volunteering for a project that stretches your skills.
Or even seeking feedback from people who will be honest with you.
Even if it's not always easy to hear.
Right. Because sometimes the most valuable feedback is the kind that makes you a little uncomfortable.
It's about embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth.
And remembering that becoming a leader?
It's not a destination.
It's a journey.
You're constantly evolving.
And that feedback is essential along the way.
It's like having a mirror held up to you.
Helping you see your blind spots.
And the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu uses a really powerful example of this in action.
Satya Nadella's transformation of Microsoft.
He's really shifted the company's culture in a positive direction.
And it all started with him setting clear goals around empathy and innovation.
He didn't just talk about it.
He took concrete steps to make it happen.
So it's inspiring to see those principles being put into practice.
It really is. So what's the key takeaway for our listeners today? What should they walk away from this deep dive remembering?
I think the biggest takeaway from the high-impact leader is that authentic leadership isn't some magical quality that you're either born with or you're not.
It's not about genetics.
It's a journey.
It's about actively engaging with your experiences.
Both the good and the bad.
And using them to shape who you become as a leader.
It's about recognizing those moments that matter.
Bridging the gap between your actual self and your possible self.
And cultivating those essential PsyCap traits.
Confidence, hope, optimism, and resilience.
And it's about having a plan.
Not just drifting along,
but charting a course for your own development.
And taking those deliberate steps to grow.
I love that. Authentic leadership is a journey you design.
It puts the power in your hands.
It means we all have the potential to become high-impact leaders.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of taking that first step.
And committing to the journey.
Well said.
Well.
So to wrap things up, the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu does a fantastic job of summarizing the key insights from the high-impact leader.
It gives us a clear framework for developing our authentic leadership capabilities.
If you're serious about becoming a better leader,
I highly recommend checking it out.
And before we go, we want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
How can you proactively create those moments that matter in your own life?
What experiences can you seek out that will shape your leadership in the direction you desire?
That's something we can all reflect on.
Thank you for joining us for another deep dive.
And be sure to visit the 1 Hour Guide website for more insightful business and leadership summaries by Anil Nathu.
Until next time,
Keep learning
keep growing.
and keep leading authentically.